The quantum sensors detected them first, a ripple in space-time that announced the arrival of something massive. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the reinforced windows of Lunar Command, her weathered face illuminated by Earth's ethereal glow. After 30 years of service, she had hoped to never see this day. The Nexer Collective had finally found Earth. The alien fleet materialized at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, 7 crystalline vessels that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Each ship dwarfed humanity's largest space stations, their hulls adorned with geometric patterns that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. They made no attempt to hide their arrival. This was not an invasion force. It was a declaration. Multiple quantum signatures detected, announced Captain James Torres, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. Their energy readings are unprecedented, Admiral. Sarah nodded, her cybernetic hand unconsciously touching the medallion at her throat, a reminder of humanity's first tentative steps into space. How long until they reach communication range? At their current velocity, approximately 6 hours, the Admiral turned to face the command center, where dozens of officers worked with quiet efficiency. None of them knew that this moment had been anticipated for decades. That deep beneath Earth's oceans and mountains, in secret facilities hidden from public view, humanity had been preparing for an encounter exactly like this. "Initiate Protocol Omega," Sarah commanded, her voice steady. "Authorization, Chen, Alpha 790. Across the solar system, hidden installations hummed to life. Quantum computers that had been running simulations for years shifted to combat protocols. Automated factories buried in asteroid belts began manufacturing advanced weapon systems. And in a facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Maya Patel received the alert she had both dreaded and prepared for. The Nexer transmission arrived exactly as predicted, a quantum burst that bypassed traditional communication channels. Their message displayed across screens worldwide, translated in real time by AI systems that had been studying theoretical alien languages for generations. To the species designation, human, your civilization has been monitored and assessed. You have achieved sufficient technological advancement to warrant attention. The Nexer Collective offers you integration into our empire. Resistance is inadvisable. You have 6 planetary rotations to submit your surrender. Failure to comply will result in immediate pacification. In the depths of the Himalayan Command Center, General Wei Zhang watched the message repeat across multiple screens. He allowed himself a grim smile as he activated his neural link to the global defense network. They have no idea what they're walking into, do they, Admiral? Sarah's holographic form materialized in the command center, her expression hard. No, General. They don't. Humanity stopped being defenseless a long time ago. Deep beneath the Pacific, Dr. Patel stood before a massive quantum core, the heart of Project Prometheus. For 20 years, she had led the team developing technology that most would consider impossible. Quantum shields that could redirect energy across dimensional planes, weapons that could target ships through subspace, and most importantly, an AI system that could predict and counter alien tactics in real time. "Begin full activation sequence," Maya commanded, her hands dancing across holographic interfaces. "Upload combat protocols to all defense platforms." Across Earth's orbit, seemingly innocent satellites transformed, revealing weapon systems that had remained hidden for decades. In the asteroid belt, automated factories accelerated production of autonomous combat drones, and beneath every major city, quantum shield generators prepared to create a defensive barrier unlike anything the Nexer had encountered before. The aliens had expected to find a primitive civilization, one that would either surrender immediately or be easily conquered. Instead, they had stumbled upon a species that had spent generations preparing for this exact moment. A species that had looked to the stars and seen not just wonder, but potential threats. A species that had turned paranoia into preparation and fear into strength. Sarah Chen returned her gaze to Earth, watching as the hidden defense systems activated one by one. The Nexer Collective had demanded surrender, expecting submission or destruction. They were about to learn that humanity had chosen a third option, one forged in steel, powered by quantum fire, and guided by unshakable determination. "Send our response," she commanded. The message was brief, encoded in the Nexer's own quantum language. "The human species declines integration. We choose to remain free. Approach at your own risk." As the message transmitted across space, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. Humanity had spent decades preparing in secret, building defenses that would make even the most advanced species pause. The Nexer thought they were offering a choice between surrender and extinction. They were about to discover that humanity had spent generations ensuring there was a third option: victory. The Nexer fleet's response was immediate and predictable. Their crystalline ships accelerated toward Earth, energy weapons charging with enough power to shatter continents. They had encountered resistance before, but always from civilizations that relied on brute force and desperation. This time would be different. In the quantum labs beneath Mount Fuji, Dr. Maya Patel watched as her life's work came to fruition. The Quantum Defense Grid, or QDG, was more than just a shield system. It was a living network that could think, adapt, and evolve faster than any organic mind. "QDG initialization at 80%, announced her assistant AI, its holographic form flickering with complex calculations. "Quantum entanglement stable across all nodes." Maya nodded, her augmented vision displaying streams of data from defense installations worldwide. "Begin Phase 2 deployment. Activate the Dark Swarm." Throughout the asteroid belt, thousands of objects that had appeared to be simple mining drones revealed their true nature. Each one carried a quantum core based on Maya's designs, capable of processing combat decisions in microseconds. They moved with an organic fluidity that defied conventional physics, powered by drives that bent space itself. Admiral Chen watched from Lunar Command as the swarm deployed. Status of the Nexer fleet. "They've crossed Jupiter's orbit," Captain Torres reported. "Energy signatures indicate they're charging primary weapons. They'll be in range in 40 minutes. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Perfect. They're right where we want them. Initiate Operation Dark Shield." The Nexer commander, Supreme Executor Vixthal, observed the human defenses with dismissive confidence. Their scans showed primitive satellites and a scattered fleet of small vessels, nothing that could withstand their superior technology. Then the scans began to fail. It started subtly. Quantum readings became unreliable. Navigation systems reported conflicting data. The very fabric of space seemed to resist their advance. In the command center of the lead ship, alarms began to sound. "Impossible," Vexthal hissed through crystalline teeth. "Their technology cannot be this advanced. They were barely space-capable a century ago." The truth was more complex. While humanity had maintained a facade of normal technological progression, their best minds had been working on projects that pushed the boundaries of known science. The QDG wasn't just a defense system. It was a revolution in quantum mechanics. Deep beneath the Pacific, Maya activated the final phase of her creation. The quantum cores pulsed in perfect synchronization, creating a field that extended throughout the solar system. Space itself seemed to ripple as the field took effect. "Dark Shield at full power," Maya reported, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were attempting. "All systems nominal." The Nexer fired their first salvo, beams of concentrated energy that could vaporize cities. They struck the quantum field and simply vanished, not deflected, not absorbed, but redirected through quantum space to emerge harmlessly in the void between stars. In the Himalayan command center, General Zhang watched with satisfaction as the alien weapons proved useless. Second wave of Dark Swarm units deploying now. The autonomous drones moved with impossible precision, their quantum cores allowing them to predict and counter alien tactics before they were even executed. They struck from angles that shouldn't exist, using weapons that ignored conventional shields. Vexthal watched in growing horror as the supposedly primitive humans demonstrated technology that rivaled or exceeded their own. This is impossible. Their civilization shows no signs of such advancement. That was the point, Sarah Chen whispered, though the alien commander couldn't hear her. Humanity had hidden its true capabilities, presenting a facade of normal development while preparing for this exact moment. The dark swarm struck the Nexer fleet like a tide of living metal. Quantum-tipped weapons pierced shields that had withstood the weapons of 100 conquered civilizations. Targeting systems that could track ships through hyperspace ensured no evasive maneuver went unanswered. Maya's quantum network coordinated it all, processing combat data and adapting strategies faster than thought. The Nexer found themselves facing an enemy that could predict their every move, counter every tactic, and strike from vectors they couldn't defend against. Multiple hostile vessels showing critical damage, Torres reported, his voice tight with controlled excitement. Their formation is breaking. For the first time in centuries, the Nexer Collective faced not just resistance, but the real possibility of defeat. Their mighty fleet, which had brought countless civilizations to their knees, found itself outmaneuvered and outgunned by a species they had grievously underestimated. Sarah Chen watched as humanity's true power was finally unveiled. The Nexer had expected to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. Instead, they had awakened a giant that had spent generations preparing for war. A species that had turned its fear of the unknown into a shield, and its determination to survive into a weapon. The battle for Earth's solar system had begun, and humanity had just revealed its opening move. Supreme Executor Vexthal had never experienced defeat in 3 centuries of conquest. Now, watching his mighty fleet falter against human defenses, he felt something alien to his species: doubt. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were systematically dismantling everything the Nexer thought they knew about warfare. Multiple quantum breaches detected. His second-in-command reported, crystalline appendages trembling. They're targeting our drive systems through subspace. In the depths of Luna Command, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold across holographic displays. The dark swarm had done its job, fragmenting the Nexer formation. Now it was time for Phase 3. Launch the Prometheus Protocol, she commanded, her cybernetic hand moving through complex gestures that activated deeply buried command sequences. Beneath the surface of Mars, automated factories that had lain dormant for decades roared to life. They began producing something the Nexer had never encountered: quantum-entangled weapon platforms that could strike from anywhere in the solar system, synchronized through Maya's revolutionary network. Dr. Maya Patel stood before the master control interface, her augmented mind processing battle data at superhuman speeds. Prometheus units deploying. Quantum synchronization at optimal levels. The Prometheus platforms emerged from hidden bases across Mars, each one a testament to human ingenuity. They didn't move through normal space. They existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making them virtually impossible to target or destroy. By the eternal void, Vexthal breathed as his sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing. How are they doing this? The answer lay in decades of secret research, in facilities hidden beneath Earth's oceans and mountains. While the world went about its daily life, brilliant minds had pushed the boundaries of physics, creating weapons and defenses that seemed to defy reality itself. General Zhang coordinated the ground-based defense networks, watching as the Prometheus platforms took position. All units in place, initiating synchronized strike. The attack came from everywhere at once. Quantum-entangled weapons fired in perfect synchronization, their effects magnified by the QTG network. Space itself seemed to twist as the attacks bypassed Nexer shields, striking directly at their supposedly impenetrable hulls. In her command center beneath the Pacific, Maya watched her creations at work. The quantum network wasn't just coordinating attacks, it was learning, evolving, becoming more efficient with each passing second. The Nexer's tactical computers, impressive as they were, couldn't keep up with a system that operated outside normal causality. 3 enemy capital ships critically damaged. Torres reported, his voice steady despite the excitement of the moment. Their formation is completely broken. The Nexer fleet, which had arrived with such overwhelming confidence, found itself fighting an enemy that seemed to break every rule of conventional warfare. Their weapons were rendered useless by defenses that shouldn't exist. Their ships were struck by attacks that ignored the laws of physics as they understood them. This is impossible. Vixthal raged as another volley of quantum strikes tore through his fleet's defenses. They were supposed to be primitive. Their technology was assessed as barely interstellar. Sarah Chen smiled grimly. That's because we wanted you to think that. Humanity learned long ago that the best defense isn't just preparation. It's making sure your enemies underestimate you until it's too late. The Dark Swarm continued its relentless assault, now coordinating with the Prometheus platforms in ways that created devastating synergies. Where Nexer ships tried to retreat, they found their quantum drives disabled by precisely targeted strikes. When they attempted to regroup, they found their formations split by weapons that could attack from multiple points in space-time simultaneously. Maya's quantum network processed it all, coordinating thousands of autonomous units with precision that no biological commander could match. The network wasn't just winning the battle, it was rewriting the rules of space warfare with every passing moment. Multiple enemy vessels attempting emergency quantum jumps, Torres announced. The QDG is preventing their escape. The Nexer fleet, pride of an empire that had conquered 1,000 worlds, was being systematically destroyed by a species they had dismissed as barely worth noticing. Their mighty ships, each one a testament to centuries of technological advancement, were being torn apart by weapons they couldn't understand or defend against. Sarah Chen watched as humanity's true power was finally unleashed in full. The Nexar had brought overwhelming force, expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had found themselves trapped in a killing field of humanity's making, facing weapons and defenses that made their own technology seem primitive by comparison. As the battle reached its crescendo, Maya activated the final phase of the Prometheus protocol. The quantum network synchronized every weapon platform, every drone, every defense system into a single devastating assault. Space itself seemed to shudder as humanity demonstrated exactly why they had spent generations preparing in secret. The message was clear. Humanity would not surrender, would not submit, and would not be conquered. They had spent decades ensuring that any species that tried would face consequences beyond their darkest nightmares. The remains of the mighty Nexer fleet drifted through space, their once pristine crystalline hulls now scarred and broken. But Supreme Executor Vixthal was not finished. In the depths of his flagship, he activated emergency protocols that hadn't been used in centuries. Begin emergency reconstruction, he commanded, his crystalline form pulsing with desperate energy. Initiate the convergence protocol. The damaged Nexer ships began to change. Crystalline structures flowed like liquid, merging and reconstructing into something new, something desperate, something terrible. In Lunar Command, Admiral Chen watched with growing concern as her sensors tracked the transformation. Dr. Patel, are you seeing this? Maya's holographic form nodded, her expression grim. They're combining their remaining ships into a single entity. Energy readings are off the charts. The Nexer ships merged into a massive crystalline structure that seemed to drink in light itself. Energy readings surged beyond anything their sensors could properly measure. This was the Nexer's final gambit, a weapon of last resort that had ended civilizations. All forces fall back to secondary defense positions. Sarah commanded. Activate Project Ascendance. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, in a facility unknown even to most of Earth's leadership, humanity's ultimate weapon stirred to life. Dr. Elena Santos, the architect of Project Ascendance, stood before a quantum core unlike any other. The Nexar have activated their doomsday weapon, she announced to her team. Just as we predicted they would. Begin final activation sequence. Project Ascendance wasn't just another weapon system. It was the culmination of everything humanity had learned about quantum mechanics, consciousness transfer, and artificial intelligence. It was a bridge between human ingenuity and machine precision. The merged Nexer vessel fired its first shot, a beam of pure quantum energy that could crack planets. It struck the quantum defense grid, and for the first time began to break through. Shield integrity at 60% and falling. Torres reported, his voice tense. The Nexer weapon is somehow bypassing our quantum defenses. Maya's quantum network adapted rapidly, but even it struggled against the raw power being unleashed. This was exactly the scenario Project Ascendance had been designed for. In her Antarctic facility, Alina initiated the final sequence. Neural interface online. Beginning consciousness transfer. The project had seemed impossible when first proposed, a way to directly merge human consciousness with quantum computing systems. But humanity had learned that the impossible was just another problem to solve. Sarah Chen felt the moment Project Ascendance came online. The quantum network that had been coordinating their defenses suddenly expanded, becoming something more. Human consciousness merged with machine precision, creating an entity that could think and react with both human creativity and quantum speed. The merged Nexer vessel fired again, its beam cutting through space with apocalyptic power. But this time, something was different. The quantum defense grid didn't just absorb or deflect the attack. It redirected it, turned it, reshaped it. What is this? Vixthal demanded as his sensors showed impossible readings. How are they controlling quantum energy at this level? Project Ascendance represented humanity's understanding that pure computational power wasn't enough. The quantum network needed something more: human intuition, creativity, the ability to make impossible leaps of logic that no computer could match. Alina's consciousness spread through the network, merging with the quantum systems she had helped create. She wasn't just controlling them. She had become one with them, a being that existed as both human and machine. The dark swarm moved with new purpose, coordinated by an intelligence that combined human creativity with quantum processing speed. The Prometheus platforms synchronized in ways that even Maya's original network couldn't achieve. Target their quantum core, Alina commanded, her voice echoing through both normal space and quantum frequencies. All units, synchronize strike. The attack that followed defied description. Every weapon in Earth's arsenal fired simultaneously, their effects multiplied and synchronized by Project Ascendance's quantum human hybrid consciousness. Space itself seemed to bend and twist as human ingenuity merged with machine precision to create something entirely new. The merged Nexer vessel, for all its power, found itself facing something unprecedented, a defense system guided by human consciousness operating at quantum speeds. Their weapons, powerful as they were met by defenses that could predict and counter them before they were even fired. This isn't possible, Vixthal whispered as his mighty weapon began to fail. What are they? The answer came not in words, but in action. Project Ascendance coordinated a final, massive strike, combining every weapon and defense system into a single devastating attack. The quantum network, guided by human consciousness, found weaknesses that no computer could have detected, executed strategies that no machine could have conceived. The merged Nexer vessel, the ultimate weapon of a species that had conquered 1,000 worlds, began to break apart under the assault. Not just destroyed, but systematically dismantled by an intelligence that operated beyond normal space and time. In that moment, the Nexer Collective learned the true lesson of humanity, that their greatest strength wasn't their technology or their preparations, but their ability to combine human ingenuity with machine precision in ways that created something entirely new. The destruction of the Nexer's ultimate weapon sent shockwaves through the galaxy, not just physical ripples in space-time, but waves of information that traveled faster than light through quantum channels. The impossible had happened. A primitive species had not just defeated the Nexer Collective, but had demonstrated technology that surpassed them in every way. Supreme Executor Vixthal, his crystalline form cracked and failing, transmitted his final message to the collective. We were wrong. They were never primitive. They were waiting, preparing. What we thought was their limitation was their greatest deception. In Lunar Command, Admiral Sarah Chen watched as the quantum network tracked the message's transmission across space. The war wasn't over. The Nexer Collective still controlled 1,000 worlds. But everything had changed. Project Ascendance has exceeded all projected parameters. Dr. Elena Santos reported, her consciousness still merged with the quantum network. Through it, she could sense the ripples of their victory spreading across space. The fusion of human consciousness with quantum computing has created something entirely new. Maya Patel's hologram appeared in the command center, her expression thoughtful. We've done more than win a battle. We've changed the fundamental rules of warfare, of technology itself. The question is, what do we do with this power? The answer came not from military command or scientific analysis, but from the collective wisdom of humanity itself. The quantum network, now enhanced by Project Ascendance, had given them something unprecedented: the ability to communicate and coordinate across vast distances instantly, guided by both human insight and machine precision. Send the message, Sarah commanded, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's decision. The transmission went out on all frequencies, in all languages, carried by quantum channels that the Nexer themselves had used to demand Earth's surrender. But this message was different. To all species under Nexer control, we are humanity. We have defeated the force that claimed to be invincible. We offer you not conquest, but partnership, not submission, but freedom. The age of the Nexer Collective's tyranny is over. In the days that followed, responses began to pour in. Species that had lived under Nexer dominion for centuries saw hope for the first time. Humanity's victory wasn't just a military triumph. It was a symbol of resistance, of determination, of the power of preparation and innovation. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Elena worked with her team to refine Project Ascendance. The merger of human consciousness with quantum computing had opened doors they had only theorized about. They were learning to bridge the gap between organic thought and machine precision in ways that would revolutionize everything from space travel to medical science. We're receiving requests for aid from 17 different species, Captain Torres reported, his holographic form appearing in multiple command centers simultaneously through the quantum network. They've begun rising up against their Nexer overlords. Sarah Chen stood at the window of Lunar Command, looking out at Earth. The planet showed no visible signs of the incredible technology that had saved it. And that was exactly the point. Humanity had learned to hide its strength, to prepare in secret, to turn paranoia into protection. Begin Operation Liberation, she commanded. The Dark Swarm, now guided by the enhanced consciousness of Project Ascendance, began to move out into the galaxy. Not as conquerors, but as liberators. Each drone carried not just weapons, but hope, the promise that tyranny could be overthrown, that the impossible could be achieved. Maya's quantum network expanded, reaching out to connect with alien systems, sharing knowledge and technology with species that had been kept deliberately primitive by their Nexer rulers. Humanity had learned its lessons well. Strength wasn't just about having power, but about how you used it. In the vast expanse of space, the remains of the Nexer fleet served as a monument to hubris, to the danger of underestimating an enemy. They had demanded surrender from a species that had spent generations preparing for exactly this moment. They had expected submission and found instead an innovator, a liberator, a force that had completely changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The message that had started it all, the Nexer's demand for Earth's surrender, now floated through space as little more than a historical curiosity. Humanity's response, written not just in words, but in quantum fire and unbreakable determination, had become legend. They had demanded surrender. Earth had answered with steel, with innovation, with the unbreakable spirit of a species that refused to submit. And in doing so, they had not just saved themselves. They had lit a beacon of hope for an entire galaxy. The age of Nexar dominion was over. The age of human innovation, of partnership between species, of freedom and determination had begun. And it had started with a simple choice. When faced with surrender or extinction, humanity had chosen to forge its own path, to turn preparation into power and determination into destiny.